welcome back. Welcome to whichever it may be. It may be your first time, may be a returning viewer. So either way, thank you very much for joining me on Nain Shorts. We're here again in the basement of Physique Magnifique. That's 387 Grand Avenue in South San Francisco, the home of the bladed mind, and a bunch of, well, different things that you can do here. Today, we're in the boxing section because, well, as you can tell, they're punching bags. And that actually leads into the topic that we're going to talk today because I am not a boxer. I have not trained in boxing, but it might be something that I'd want to get into if I want to learn better striking or a more finite study on striking, because that's what it is for me. It's a study. How do I then further develop things? How do I understand things more deeply? And that's my training. That's the reason why I do it, and that's why I would go cross-train with those that know more about something than I do. And honestly, I feel like most people know more things about a lot of things than I do, which is why I love talking to people and I love getting as much information as I possibly can. But how useful is that information to any one individual? What do we do with it? Is cross-training appropriate? And if so, when is the appropriate time to do so? When should we go to different places, different instructors in different arts, and start learning what they have to teach? And do we go to each instructor and start learning the entire curriculum, from the ground up? Because I know there's some instructors, there are some other schools that it takes quite a while to get the full mastery of the entire system, and then the rest of your lifetime to develop it even further. So can you really spend 10 years at a time learning different systems? Now, there are people who have done this. Danny Nosanto comes to mind. He's a constant student, and from what I understand, he has dozens of rankings in different systems. Like, he's actually studied the complete systems. And he's now, in his 80s, still learning things? 90s? Wow. So there's a lot to be said about the study of things. But then again, why do it? Why pursue that? For him, it's the love. I'm assuming it's because he enjoys it so much that he wants to eat up as much as he possibly can and get as much as he can. And right now, he has the time, really. Me, I have a full-time job. It's not always easy. Would I love to train 4 to 5 hours a day? Most certainly. I would love to do that. And if I were to get paid to do that, even more so. But I don't have that kind of time. So then I have to really consider what it is that I'm trying to learn. Right now, I'm training with another instructor in Kaju Kempo. I want to learn it from the ground up because I want to have a traditional system under my belt. Because again, the bladed mind is not very traditional in that sense. We do not have a complete system, and we focus more on the conceptual and the thought process as well as the learning process in order to get things across and to expand what we understand as individuals. So now I find myself in a place where I feel comfortable enough to go to another school, where I'm not going there to critique what they're doing. I'm not going there to say, oh, well, we do it this way in our school. No, it's not about that, because that defeats the purpose of cross-training. What it is, though, is me now being able to separate that stuff, my ego, my knowledge, to say, I'm a blank slate. I don't empty my cup. I just go get another one. And I use that cup solely for what now I'm learning. And this came up in a recent conversation with an incredible young man by the name of Joseph Bautista. And he's big on it. He's big on cross-training in the sense that if what you're looking for, he can't provide or give you that finite training, he will direct you to a person that is better fit for that. And the example he gave was, if you want to learn better striking, well then, yeah, you would probably be better off going to a boxer, a coach or an instructor to get better with your hands, to develop better hand speed, strength, whatever the case may be, whatever it is that you're looking for. And even as far as mentioning MMA being that, in MMA, there's not a lot of people who have a big traditional foundation. There are a few, but not a lot. Most get little bits and pieces from groundwork, from striking, from this and that, and they're naturally predisposed to some more than others. Some things come natural to them, some they have to work really hard at, but they just practice little bits of different arts, just enough to be able to practice the sport and move up if that's what they're trying to do. And some people just do it because it's fitness, because there is a lot of cardiovascular exercise that goes involved, there is weight training involved. So that's a big appeal for people, and not so much spending the 5 to 10 years learning a complete system, getting the belts and ranking up, which is great. Like I said, I find myself now in a position where I am working towards a traditional system, but I have all my knowledge with me, and I understand that whenever I go to somebody who specifies in something other than what I know, then I really want to learn and ask questions. So what is the best way to really go in cross-train? And what would we even consider cross-training? Is going to a seminar considered cross-training? I mean, sure, you can learn a lot, but then how much can you really retain if you're there training with 4 to 6 different instructors? Can you really get that good of an instruction to go back and say, okay, I got this is what I'm working on? Maybe, maybe not. I have a crappy memory, so I can't. If you can, I applaud you, because that's not something I'm very good at. But I do, in those instances, try to pick up something that is similar to what I know, but done in a different way or explained differently. Maybe I get a grander sense of what it is I'm actually doing or am capable of doing, and it's not too far off from what I already do, so then I can just refine what I'm doing and make it better, make it more me, because my understanding is now deeper, because I got somebody else's perspective on it. And I think that is one of the biggest keys when you're cross-training, is that you have to take your ideas out of it. You have to take your perspective of it. And again, it's just my opinion, because then you can really see what's happening and why it's happening more than anything else. Once you get that why, then it's a lot easier for you to incorporate it into what you do. Again, just my opinion and just how I go about doing things, how I was taught to go about doing things. But again, what's the purpose behind it? And are there enough instructors out there who are willing to let you in through their door to learn that one specific idea? Say you want to get better at grappling. Now, do you not necessarily want to belt up in BJJ or any of the other grappling arts, or train in wrestling for X amount of time? Or do you want to just learn certain techniques, things to understand how to better balance, how to take somebody down better, how to keep yourself from getting taken down because your training is more sports oriented, or you feel like your groundwork is horrible and you're in some sort of law enforcement and you want to have better control of the person that you're trying to arrest? These are finite focuses that you're trying to accomplish a goal so you can do your job better, whether it's recreational, whether it's your career, whether it's your life. But ultimately, it is what you need and you deciding what it is that you need that will take you in the direction. And to find an instructor who's willing to give you that time, to give you that training, and not necessarily become, I don't want to say permanent student, but become the student that's going to become your legacy holder, your lineage holder. And no, I'm just going there because this is what I want to learn. Can you help me learn it? And I haven't looked too much into this. Now, a lot of the people that we've talked to, they're very giving. They definitely share. I have questions, and they're more than happy to give me an answer. and I get a better understanding of why they do what they do and why them specifically do it the way that they do. So I get a good sense of the art, but I also get a good sense of the individual. And then that's what I'm looking for, because ultimately, whatever I learn is going to be on me. And while I'm in front of an instructor, I'm in front of that instructor, and that's all that I'm getting is their information. My information is at the door waiting for me. So once I leave, then I can start breaking it down and I can start understanding, okay, how would I use this? So there is a great deal of respect that has to be present when you are asking somebody for their information, for their knowledge, because it is theirs. And then how you use it afterwards, well, that doesn't happen until the class is over, until the time that you're with that person has ended. Because it is, again, a matter of respect. And it isn't that I give up any of the instructors that I've had before. You know, Danny will always be my instructor. Rico, I might throw him away, but only because he wants to. But Danny's always going to be the guy. He's always going to be the one, my first instructor, the guy that gave me the base of everything that I do now. But Rick also helped, just to save face a little bit, because he looks sad behind the camera. But now I have another instructor, and even the people that I've talked to and I've had a chance to do colleague conversation with and, you know, get thrown around and beaten and kicked in the nuts, even those people I am incredibly grateful to. And I see them, maybe not as my instructors, but they have instructed me in a sense. And I have picked up things from them. And I do have flashes here and there as my understanding grows, where it's like, oh, that's why they did it that way. And then I incorporate it because now I understand it better. Sure, I probably would have understood it much faster had I stayed with those people for an X amount of time. But again, I don't have the capacity to do that. So, how do we then cross-share with each other's in this martial arts world? How do we give the information that is asked of us instead of the information that we want to give to people? Because I think that's a point that really we need to acknowledge. And I can tell you for myself, as an instructor, there are times where this is what I want to teach a particular student. But one, they may not be ready for it. Two, they may not get it. At least not the way that I want to present it. At least not because a lack of trying, but just because we're not speaking the same language. So we haven't even connected enough to understand that. And maybe what they came for is nothing like what I'm saying. Nothing that I'm saying actually matches what they wanted to learn. And we've talked about the ideas of the students and what it is that they're after. And are we really coming across and giving them what it is that they, one, perceived, and two, they need? Because they're not always the same. Some people want to learn how to fight. As an instructor, maybe what they need to learn is how to calm the hell down and not want to fight, and that will keep them safe. So how do you bridge the gap between what somebody is looking for and what you believe they need? And how much of what you believe they need is really just you wanting to, here's my stuff, it's great, it's awesome, it's the best, join me for life? Or do you really take the time to understand what they're actually saying, what they're actually looking for, and, you know, be humble enough to say, you know what, I'm not the guy. He's the guy that you should be talking to, or that person's the guy that they should be talking to, or she's the one that you should go see. Because then we can create a network where we are directing people to the right instructors, to the ones that they actually need, the ones that are going to help them achieve their goals. Because I don't know it all. I can't. No one does. Somebody once said, I forget what video it was, but if we were to actually train all the things that we need to be well-rounded and super proficient martial artists, we'd be training 10, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, because there are so many elements that you can then develop, that you can work on, timing, footwork, punching strength, cardiovascular health, weight training, there's nutrition, there's the mentality behind it, there's the study of things, as well as the practice of things. And there are so many elements to personal growth that no one person can cover them all. But at the same time, if we're constantly just doing, oh, I'm going to do 30 minutes with this guy here, 30 minutes with this person here, 30 minutes over here, 30 minutes over here, are you really getting enough of any one of those things to say, okay, this is all I need? Maybe, maybe not. Like I said, I know I couldn't do it. I'm committed to this new instructor, but I'm still committed to my instructors, formerly and current, and that's not going to go away. But it's how I go about doing it that's going to determine whether or not this is going to be fruitful for me. And that's what I want to focus on. Now, this episode is less about having answers and more about just asking those questions. Like, what do you think about it? What do you think cross-training really is? And what is a good way to go about it? How do you determine whether or not you should even go cross-train, whether you're ready to do that? Have you yourself done it? Has it been successful? Have you been able to meld those things together where now it's a hybrid, whatever it is, an art or a movement or your own personalized style of doing things? Where someone would say, hey, I have no idea what that system is, but it's cool. Because everything that you've picked up has become you. And everything you do has become an expression of that person. Because you put everything together, you paid enough attention, and now that's all it is. And should it be that? I personally think it should. I think that's what Bruce Lee did. And then that became a system, even though that was just the way Bruce Lee moved. That was his movement. That was his way of doing things. Some people can't. Some people can imitate. Other people have really taken the time to say, okay, I like it, it's great, it works, but it doesn't work for me. What can I pick up from that though? What can I take from that person, from that style, from that technique that I can incorporate into what I do, into what I'm comfortable with, and then put it together? Wow, I have a long road ahead of me when it comes to training, and it's, yeah. Anyways, so this is the kind of stuff I think about, and hopefully it's brought up some good points for you, and maybe it's something to further consider for yourself. Now, before I go, I just want to mention once again, we are having the Kali Konversation Guest Appreciation Picnic on the 23rd of July, Saturday. It will be in San Francisco, Golden Gate Park. That's right. Information on Facebook, so check it out. If you've been a guest on the show, you are there. If you want to sneak in, just make sure you put money down somewhere. Okay? Yeah, we've already reserved a spot, but we also request that you reserve your spot and make sure you let us know that you will be making it. Again, if you haven't been a guest, but you know one of them, maybe you can be there plus one or three if you want to bring your family along with it. But either way, it's going to be a big fun. It's going to be, last time was kind of crazy. But we had a raffle. We're going to have another raffle again. A lot of great prizes. There are family-friendly prizes, not just knives and swords. That was funny though. Anyways, so for those of you who have been on the show, please make note the date and make time to be there for really our appreciation for everything that you guys have done for us and the show, and that you continue to do. So thank you very much, and till the next one. 3, 2, 1, cut!